I'm in senior year in college. 2 more semesters and I'll be having a degree. Yay! I worked hard all these years and I'm so ready to be an engineer. It is tough in school, being a woman, taking up a degree, which is typically a man's cup of tea. All through these struggles, I met Mr. Collin, one of my professors at the university. He helped me a lot, in and out of school, up to the point where I even go to him for family matters. Not long enough, I fell in love with him. It just felt so right, even if it's wrong. He was there for me all the time. He holds my hand when I need it most. I was happy, but none of these happiness can be shared to anyone, including my friends. I was so scared to be judged, let alone be kicked out of school. I started missing out on parties and out of town joyrides with friends because I always chose to spend time with Mr. Collin. One of my friends, Carol, got really suspicious with how distant I became. She tried to ask me over and over but never got anything out of me. Soon enough, she started stalking me and found in the sheets with Mr. Collin. I didn't know she followed me at night and took provocative pictures of us, which she sent to the dean of the school. These pictures are of us kissing and snuggling. There's no way we can deny what we have and how we feel towards each other. The dean called Mr. Collin and I for a closed door meeting. We were shown the pictures and our jaws dropped. That moment, we realized we fucked up. Mr. Collin lost his job right then and there. I was devastated. I chose to drop school and transfer. Mr. Collin and the dean tried to stop me for making a hasty decision, but I made my choice. If Mr. Collin is leaving, I'm out of there too. Raf. Yes, that's Mr. Collin's name. Raf and I decided to move out of town. My parents were furious because I had to drop out of school. They did not approve of me leaving town with the love of my life. They tried to convince me that it was a bad idea, that it is something that I would regret in the future. You will come back home, my baby, my dad said while tearing up. And when you do, you will always be welcome, my mom said. Raf and I moved to a different state, somewhere new, somewhere nobody knows us, so we can have a fresh start. We soon got married, just the two of us, no friends and no family. We were so in love and we didn't care about the world. We moved to a cabin in the woods. It's a nice, beautiful house surrounded by trees and nature. It feels as though everything is just perfect. This place, the love of my life. What else should I need, right? I met our new neighbor right across the street, Maria. Her husband works at the university where Raf works. She's so nice and welcoming. She even invited us to a barbecue party that she's hosting the next day. I told my husband about the barbecue, but he was hesitant. He went to work the next day, and I went to the party. I met some people there, and one of them is Gemma. I can't explain the look on her face when she saw me. She said I look a lot like Izzy. Curious as I should be, I asked who she is. Gemma said that Izzy is Raf's ex-wife. I was surprised. I didn't know about his past. I tried to ask more questions, but she didn't want to talk about it anymore. All she said is that she doesn't want to bring back tragic memories. She knew my husband from Seattle. She knew about my husband's past that I didn't know about. My husband came to the party and told him that Gemma from Seattle is here. His face turned flushed as he saw her. He grabbed my arm so hard and we walked home. He was mad and disoriented. Kind of. I was crying and asked him about Izzy. He started crying non-stop. Izzy was my fiancé. We were supposed to be married in the fall. We made plans of our life together. Our house, careers, future children. I thought everything is going well. It was all a facade. The smiles, the excitement, the plans, they were all fake. She was depressed. She was weak and chose not to carry on with her life, our life. She killed herself. I was in deep grief. I moved out of Seattle to forget all the painful memories. I started anew, and that's when I met you. You turned my life around. He told me this story as tears are gushing down his cheeks. I hugged him and called it a night. The next day, my best friend Carol from California called me. This is the first time we spoke after I left without saying goodbye. I was angry. I yelled at her for sending those pictures of us to the dean. She tried to calm me down and told me that she needs to talk to me about Raf. She told me I don't know the man I'm married to. I stopped her and told her I know about his ex-wife. She was insistent that we meet. Hang up the phone. Raf came out and asked me who I was talking to. I told him about my conversation with Carol. He was furious. He broke my phone and demanded I cut ties with her. I thought he was a little overacting, but I let it go. I was mad at Carol anyway. One afternoon, as I came home from the part-time job I got in town, I noticed a police car parked outside of our house. I hurried home as I was curious on what it is about. Detective Shannon came over because my best friend Carol is missing. She had a few questions for me. I told her we just spoke a few days ago, and she seemed fine. Nothing out of the ordinary. The detective left. I was worried sick about my best friend. Something in my gut tells me there is something wrong. I don't know what, but I knew in my heart she was hurt. She's not the type who would just disappear. I called the detective and asked if there's any lead on Carol. Nothing, she says. But I want to talk to you, she continued. I invited her over. She came to our house, bringing a picture of a girl who looks exactly like me. I was confused. She said, "That was Izzy, your husband's ex-wife." I couldn't believe my eyes. As I was looking at the picture, she said, "Did you know about her?" "I do," I answered. "What about Rachel?" she asked again. I was quiet with the blank face. "Who is Rachel?" I asked. "Oh, I'm surprised you're not aware," she answered. "Rachel is your husband's first wife. She was murdered, and her body was found in the lake." I didn't know what to say. I was quiet, trying to process everything. The people who surround her husband somehow seem to get hurt or disappear. "Maybe you should take extra care of yourself," Detective Shannon said. "I don't know what you are talking about, and I don't appreciate what you are insinuating right now. Maybe you should leave. I have to get ready for work." I walked the detective out, but before she left, she gave me her card in case something happens. I called her directly. "I'm worried about you," she said, and walked off. I went to my neighbor's Maria, asked for help if she could drive me to Seattle. She agreed. We went to the police station and asked around about Izzy's death. It was a suicide. She left a note before disappearing. Her body was never found. At least, this gives me an assurance that Raf is telling me the truth. Something is wrong. My gut is telling me not to trust Raf. Who did I marry? I asked myself. The next morning, Izzy showed up at the cafe where I work. Yes, Izzy, my husband's supposed to be dead wife, is alive. She's dressed in a hoodie, sneakers, a cap, and sunglasses. I did not recognize her until she took off the cap and glasses. I was surprised to see her. I have questions in my mind. She pulled me at the back of the store and warned me. I faked my death because Raf is a monster. He will own you in all possible ways. He will hurt you, and worst, kill you, like what he did to Rachel. I laid out the cards. Your life is up to you now, Izzy said. Her words sent shivers down my spine. She put the cap and glasses back on and left. I confronted Raf as soon as I got home. He was mad. It is scary. He pushed me up against the wall and choked me. He said I'm like all the others. All I want to do is dig about his past. He strangled me so hard I couldn't breathe. But I managed to reach the wood right beside the stairs. I hit him hard in the head and he passed out. I ran to Maria's place and asked for help. She's calling the cops when Raf showed up and hit her with the wood that I hit him with. I ran out of the forest towards the road to ask for help, but nobody's there. It's a long street full of trees, but no houses. I ran and ran as fast as I could. He caught up to me at the bridge. He knocked me over and strangled me while saying, "All I did is to love you. All I did is to love you and give you everything you want. But you chose this. You chose to be in the lake with Rachel." I was scared. I couldn't breathe until I knew his nuts. He was in pain, so I tried to get up, but he grabbed me. He was going to kill me. His eyes lit, face red, and furious. I managed to fight back and pushed him off the bridge. He fell. I killed him. I killed my obsessed husband. I killed a wife killer.